The final countdown, the Paris 2024 Games coming into focus, and I am thrilled to be joined by co-chefs. I think that's the first time it's ever happened for the Paralympics. Co-chefs Karolina Wisniewska. Got it?
Perfect.
We'll work on it. We got a bit of time. And Vander Vies. Listen, we're marking 100 days out to the Games. Karolina, let's start with you. What does that actually mean? As media, we like to make a big deal of it. What does it mean to an athlete because you've been there before?
I have been there before, Devin. It's a great marker. My feeling when it was 100 days out to any games in which I competed was a bit of a feeling of panic because 100 days sounds close but far, but really when you break it down, you're so close. There's really not much runway left. There's not much more left for you to be able to do or change. So at that point, I think it's really great if you feel like, okay, I've done everything I can do. I'm ready. My ducks are in a row. I might have to polish off a few things. If you're not in that place, then 100 days can feel a bit overwhelming. I would say the one time that it really did overwhelm me was when I was living and training in Vancouver in the lead up to the 2010 Games. So the hype around 100 days to go was really palpable. But that's the only time that I really kind of let it get to me. And I still felt prepared.
Josh, I hear Karolina talk about a wide range of emotions. You're in a leadership position. You're talking to the athletes. How do you take your experiences and make sure our current Paralympians don't feel that overwhelming panic?
Well, that's the thing with being overwhelmed and panic and fear. It's something I learned in my athlete days is that it's not something that you actually conquer or avoid. You have to hang out with your panic and your fear. And so this is what I do when I'm talking to the athletes. They'll sort of give their apprehensions to me in body language and words, and I just try to, I recognize it. I just say yes, and I sit with them and let the both of us or the all of us, we feel the magnitude of the fear and the panic that's coming, and we normalize it. And that's how you can get those performances you're chasing.
I always feel a wave of calm wash over me when I'm in the presence of you two. So nice. And of course, we shared the Pan Am Games experience where some of our teams qualified. There's a last push. Teams are still qualifying. There's this excitement that's happening. Karolina, what are you carving out with your role right now? What is your role as a co-chef become in these pivotal closing moments before we all get to Paris?
It's a really interesting time. I think, as I mentioned, in a way, like the athletes, I think we all had this feeling that, yes, Paris is next year, it's in 2024, it's off in the distance. Now it's really close. So I think we've been very fortunate, as Josh mentioned, to have been the co-chefs at the Paris Paralympics Games in Santiago. So we've really got to know a lot of the athletes and the team around the athletes. Then we've had other opportunities. I feel like we have built, frankly, this amazing foundation that I'm not sure other countries have with this leadership team, this mini leadership team right here with all of Team Canada. So I feel very prepared. And like all the people within our team, coaches, athletes, sports psychologists, doctors, I really feel that we've already come together as Team Canada, so we're ready to roll.
That's beautiful. Josh, our Paralympians faced almost impossible odds in the pandemic games leading into Tokyo, and yet went and delivered. Now, on the other side of that, there seems to be this unstoppable momentum right now. How exciting is it to be a part of that? Because I really think this is going to be a renaissance for our Canadian Paralympians. Is that the sense you get?
It's a renaissance for the world. The whole world is riding the wave of coming back from COVID, and our Canadian Paralympians and the teams, I mean, they're riding the wave and they're just loving it. Can't wait to go and compete in the huge crowds. But it's going to be way more than that in Paris. It's huge crowds and historic sites. We're talking Versailles and Petit Palais and Grand Palais. We're talking about, we're going to march down the Champs-Élysées for our opening ceremonies. This is the real deal. Sport is still one of the you know, it's not perfect, we know, and it's still one of the incredible things on our planet. And so that sports celebration is coming up, and we can't wait.
On the topic of not being perfect, you two have been at the forefront of tough conversations, of centering the athlete voice. What compelling news to learn that Canadian Paralympians are going to be financially rewarded for their effort. You won 8 Paralympic medals. Think about what a payday that would have been.
I have already.
That's for another conversation. But Canadian Paralympians are going to cash in Paris. And I know it's not just about the money. This is a lot more than that. Tell me about that.
It is a lot more, and I'm glad you're asking me because I never became a Paralympian to make any money.
Can you believe this is a conversation we're having?
I never became,
right?
So, you know, I was thrilled with my journey and my experience and the medals that the 8 Paralympic medals I was able to win over the length of my career. And they mean the world to me, and they still do. However, I think what it is it's a recognition of effort, of equity, it's just simply a recognition. And I must say, if I can, I'd like to recognize Sanjay Malavia, who was at the forefront of this movement, both on the Olympic side and the Paralympic side. And it has meant, I was there the day that it was announced in Gatineau. And it was really an emotional day, not only for the Paralympic movement in Canada, but I think for the entire sporting community across the country. And it really does mean the world, and will certainly mean the world for our Canadian Paralympians, who no doubt some of them will bring home some beautiful hardware and be rewarded with that experience, and then with an additional recognition in monetary form.
Josh, I have always felt that our Canadian athletes are perhaps some of the best ambassadors on the field of play and off the field of play. What do you say to Canadians who are going to be tuning in this summer, to be watching our Canadian Paralympians?
Well, when Canadians tune in to the Paralympics, what it is a chance to see the sports that everybody are actually fans of in Canada. So it's a chance to get our eyeballs off of the hockey pages for a few minutes. I mean, hockey is okay, but there are lots of Canadians who like other sports, and they're about to get showcased on the world stage by some of the most athletic and competitive Canadians that we have. So watch for the moments of triumph, watch for the beautiful plays and outsmarting other countries and outperforming them, but also watch for the ways that our teammates are gonna take their defeats and who are gonna not have everything go their way, and watch for how they're gonna react, because that is the way to react, because our teammates know that no matter what happens out there, the game goes on, their sport goes on, and their ambassadorship goes on.
That's such a powerful message, that in the victory and defeat, there is humanity that we should always keep at the forefront. Thank you for that. Karolina, we are winding down. I wonder, on a personal note, what this represents. You've had the great pleasure of representing our country in so many different capacities. This is the big one.
They're all different.
Right.
They're all different. In terms of being a chef de mission, absolutely this is the big one. And I'm a lifelong Francophile and lover of all things French and Parisian, so I can't, this is this beautiful coming together. As Josh mentioned, it is the first post-COVID Games, but it's in a city that everyone the world over loves and is familiar with, even if they've never been there. Right. Everyone has visions of Paris. So I think what these games will do is it will bring that together for everyone. And for me personally, I'm thrilled, finally, after all my years as an athlete and being able to represent Canada that way, to now be in a position to give back to the community that did so much for me.
Last question to you, Josh. You so aptly and so eloquently talked about leaning into pride. Can you reiterate that message to myself, to Karolina, and to the millions of Canadians who are going to be watching about this idea of leaning into all different aspects of Canadian pride?
That's what these games are for my leadership. And it's such a great honor to be sharing the role with Karolina here and working as an incredible team. Leaning into pride is what sport is, because it's when you're an elite athlete, you've got the maple leaf on your chest. So it's Canadian pride. We know to be skeptical about nationalism and all that, but when the maple leaf is on your chest and you're competing for Canada, that's the time to lean into Canadian pride. It's about leaning into sport pride. So celebrating what you love about your sport, about competition and fair play and the joyous intricacies of your discipline. And then for the Paralympic Games, it's about disability pride. So that's what people don't always think about first when they think about disability. They don't always think pride. They sometimes think negativity or have another discriminatory reaction. But disability, when it comes to Paralympic sport, is about pride. It's about showing, well, is there a concept of people who are able-bodied? Let's see how able-bodied someone is compared to some of our Paralympians. What does it mean to have a disability? And what does it mean to wheel or walk into one of the most inaccessible cities in the world, Paris, full of cobblestone and ancient infrastructure? I just can't wait to barrel into Paris with some of the world's most athletic comrades, and we're going to say, okay, we're ready to buy this croissant on the corner. What do we do?
Make sure you invite me for that. Canadian pride, Paralympic pride, and you both should be so proud. And I know you'll do the country proud. I can't wait. The final countdown. We'll see you in Paris.
Thank you.
Thank you.